Hey guys, this is Simon from Fateless. We are fast approaching the community alpha waves. Really exciting actually. The Discord has absolutely been popping off with players that are really excited to get involved, try GODFORGE for the first time, come in and help us with the alpha waves and share your experiences, share some of those bugs that you find, and just basically give us that valuable feedback. So what's been happening over the last few days? Well, we've actually had the first wave of players into the game, which is our friends and family wave. If I talked about what's the priorities here from these alphas, what's the priority in terms of what are we looking for from the players that are testing the game? It's honestly not just because we want you to play it earlier, although you guys definitely do want to play it earlier. There's a bunch of things that we're trying to achieve. So the main one for me actually is, did we find the fun? Okay, when you're playing through these caverns and you're building out your squads and you're building out the different heroes that you collect, have you found the fun? Are you finding like really engaging teams, team comps? Are you finding the need to use different mechanics for different stages? And do you enjoy those mechanics? And I guess what loops into that is the core gameplay loop engaging? So, are you finding that taking your hero from level 1 as that new drop, is that exciting? And then is it exciting to sort of take them up through the different levels, upgrade their skills, ascend them, and then sort of tie them into these different team comps? So have we got the core gameplay loop in a good spot? We're also testing things like the gameplay feel. So battle, different cameras, all of those different systems that we've put into the game. And I've seen a bunch of comments of people saying that, where's the originality in your kind of like setup? You will see some things which you haven't seen in other games in the alpha. But honestly, the main systems in the alpha, the core gameplay loop and the kind of like gameplay feel, that's the kind of more important things to us. A lot of the innovation and different game modes and that type of stuff where we feel like we're really bringing something completely fresh to the genre, that will come later. That will come in like the beta and launch where we flesh out those different systems. But the gameplay feel is obviously really important. And then understanding which cameras people decide to use and making sure that we're putting our energy into the right things is really important for us as well. We're going to be testing our systems, making sure that all of the systems just work properly and feel good. Some of the systems that we've created just haven't made it into alpha. So, that's something which we're going to have almost like a frequently asked question. Is this the final version of this? A lot of the answers will be not necessarily the final version, but it's moving in the right direction to what we want at launch. And then we're going to be testing things like the power curve. So power curve of your heroes. And there's a number of layers to power, right? So it's your base stats. It's the armor and weapons that you equip. It's things like the imprints that go onto the weapons. It's leveling up your different skills with your scrolls. It's doing things like ascension. It's doing things like awakening when you get duplicate heroes, or if you get the different imprints that you can awaken your heroes with. So there's a whole bunch of different systems which give you power, and we want to make sure that curve feels good. And equally, the curve of difficulty feels good as well. So all those different things are worth testing here. And then one of the other things is bug squashing. So from the friends and family wave, we've had something like 200 bugs logged, okay, which is mad. A lot of the ones we already knew about, probably 50% we knew already, and we had them in like a bug list. But about 50%, we were like, damn, this is new. Okay, this is just like we're starting to get a mass of players in. We had close to 100 players that tried the friends and family wave, and yeah, it's just like new experiences, new team combinations, and basically we got about 100 new bugs. So where we're at right now, we're moving towards alpha 1. I did say this to you guys when I said to like fill out your form around alpha. Alpha 1 will not have all of those bugs fixed. We just don't have enough time to do it, which means that some of the bugs which was already like called out in friends and family, they still don't exist in alpha 1. But Alpha 2 will be a smoother experience. And then the final competition round, which is starting on the 3rd of September, where basically anyone who has signed up to any of our kind of like alpha or beta sign-up forms will basically be invited to that session. It'll be the competition. There'll be the leaderboards. There'll be everyone kind of like pushing for that top spot. where they would get a really cool prize set as well. Things like the diorama being created by Squidmar and his team of Fafnir fighting in the caverns against your winning team, which I think is super sweet as well. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on for that competition wave. But by that point, we're talking basically, it's a couple of months away, actually. We will have a lot more of the systems refined, improved, and basically each alpha will just be better and better. So what I wanted to do is just run through a bunch of the feedback that we've already got from the Friends and Family wave. I thought it'd be quite fun just to kind of like go through some of the different things that we've looked at. I'm going to start by just showing, this was just an internal thing, but the internal leaderboards here. Yeah, I'd say out of the 100 people that kind of were invited to the Friends and Family, about 50 played it pretty consistently, like day by day. And this is the level that people hit. So 20, 40, 60, you can just see the levels over here. Just grabbed a screenshot of it. So you can see there's a good chunk of people were around level 60. Okay, 60 to 70 to maybe to 80. Like probably about 60, 70% of the players got to around level between like 60 and 80. And it's worth saying as well, for the Friends and Family wave, we didn't have a solid 10-day block. We had to do some fixes. Like there were some fixes that just felt like they needed to be done, which we'd already developed, so they just didn't get in time. So we did a reset of the Friends and Family wave, which means this only represents about, I think, 6 to 7 days of actual gameplay. So yeah, you can see a bunch of people got to around level 80. We had some people like creeping up towards level 100. And then the creme de la creme, actually top 3 players hit level 151. One of which found a pretty bad exploit to just basically get themselves tons of legendary heroes. They were the first person to, you know who you are. They were the first person to get to 151 because they literally had awakened 5 legendaries all over their accounts. But really cool to see others getting there as well, or getting close, and finding that the difficulty curve was pretty close to where we wanted it to be, honestly, after we did that reset. Let's go through some of the positive stuff first, and let's talk about what people were enjoying. I love watching the ground crack when you smash the enemy wave. Some of the VFX stuff going off. Wow, the back views are important, and the texturing and realism of Isolde's hair looks amazing. Great work. A few characters that had wow factor for me. Gilgamesh, love this guy. Big chonker with a big axe. The dragon boss, which is Fafnir. Love this guy's intro and sense of scale and presence. Makes me excited to see more bosses. Pangu, I guess I really like big smashy guys with crazy eyes, and the monstrous characters, which you don't really see in other games. So I guess he's talking about things like the werewolf here and dragons and all that type of stuff that we've got in the game. Game is very fun. Gameplay is exciting. Definitely has a potential to beat competitors. Character designs are stunning. Just need a boost to some of the graphics, in my opinion. But it really is a blast to play. Overall, since you updated the server, so when we did the reset, I thoroughly enjoyed the caverns experience this week, bugs aside. I think the increase to experience drops and increase in stamina gain was great. So we tweaked some of the numbers in terms of how much stamina people got and how much experience they were gaining, so they could just get through it a bit faster. We probably went too far on the stamina because they ended up with loads, but better that than nothing. And I love the randomness of the guaranteed hero rewards, and think this adds for great conversation between players. There's certain stages where you can get some really cool drops. What else we got here? The game is addictive and very fun. I've had a blast playing it so far. The core mechanics feel great, minus the bugs. And the overall concept with Ultimates is a great touch for the genre. Very pleased with the overall game. And once things are cleaned up, I think this game can be huge. It's cool to hear. I really love the 2-star challenges. So each level of the cavern has got a 2-star challenge. They start very easy. They get harder as you go. Some of them you probably will need to come back to get to even be able to do it, honestly. We don't want people just like cruising all 2 stars. And when you get onto the competition wave, you will have a multiplier for the amount of stars you've got to the damage you do to Fafnir to get your overall score. So just saying here, like, makes the grind more fun and interesting, and basically means you're going to use more of the heroes you pick up. Having played the game for a few days now, it's actually amazing. A few smaller minor bugs here and there with animations or dots, wordings and stuff like that. But the actual gameplay feels smooth. The design, the ease of playing battles, upgrading heroes feels good. The mechanics I've tested seem to work as intended. There's some areas where when you go back, it doesn't actually take you back. So some of the screen sort of play is not working quite right. But I think I read this was already noted. Yeah. There's also a couple of lags and stuff like that. Seeing as this is essentially a pre-alpha, damn guys, it looks and feels great. The main difficulty is with the lack of information or knowledge of what to do in order to be correct or efficient. So yeah, there's a bunch of systems where tooltips were not in yet. And some of that will be in for Alpha 1, but not all of it. So we're just trying to give players as much info as they need. We've got here as well. I love the fact that we all got random epics from floor 20, leads to great conversation, and people running different teams. It appears there was only 3, Bastet, Leo, and Gilgamesh, which we tweaked a bit now. It would be cool if it was expanded even more. Yes, we took that feedback on. We have done that. So let's go into some of the sort of gameplay, I guess, things which people didn't feel were quite great and needed tweaking. And again, some things we've already improved and some things just won't get in for alpha. Brutally honest feedback. So after testing the cameras, this person suffers from motion sickness. Default camera just felt it was too choppy for them, too jerky, so didn't enjoy it. The 3/4 camera is basically the isometric view. Looks really cool. Too much sort of spinning for them as well. So they ended up going with what we've called top camera. We're going to change these names, which is basically a camera sitting behind the players. So similar feedback around sort of bosses. So basically the 3/4 view and top view look bad on stage 30, which is one of the boss views. Basically the feeling was we're too close to our heroes. So we're trying to make some changes there. Again, not sure how quickly we're going to get it in. Got here, did not use ultimate attack for a long time because there was no clear button. That's an interesting feedback. I'm interested to see if other people find this or not. We've definitely changed the mechanics of ultimate to be more obvious, but perhaps it's still not obvious enough. We'll see. We also got here a rare. I'm not going to call out who it is, but they think they might have too strong of an ultimate. So it's cool. Some people have found some really cool rares to use, which is what we want. We want some rares to feel really powerful for certain bits of content. So that's good. Some feedback here around the AI logic. Not the greatest when people use large AoEs. So I definitely felt this going through the tower. AI needs some work. It probably will not be fixed by the alpha. But basically, if there are just like 1 or 2 enemies left with really low health, currently the AI doesn't say, stop using all your crazy shit, ultimates and stuff, and just go in there and give them a soft tap with your basic. They still blast all of the big skills. So this is something we definitely need to improve. As I say, won't be improved for alpha, or I don't think it will. I think here around 2 times speed, so people feeling like for the farming element, 2 times speed is not fast enough, especially when we go on sort of that auto battle. So maybe there should be a 3 times or a 4 times going on. Again, won't be changed by alpha, but it's easy enough to do. What else we got here? I'm on stage 50 and have 0 upgrades for epic or legendary heroes in terms of books or scrolls for us. I would expect some sort of drop. So the way we actually thought of this when we built the economy was like stage 1 to 30 is almost like your very early game. 31 to 60 is kind of like moving into that mid-stroke early game. And then like 60 to 90 was like the mid game. 90 to 120 late game. And then 120 up is end game. So we didn't have a lot of epic or legendary drops for things like scrolls or ascension, all that type of stuff. We've realized that we probably should just tweak it back a little bit so that you do get to really start to feel more power from your cool heroes that you're picking up along the way. So we're making some tweaks to this, to the economy, just to make that feel better. It's good feedback. Got another good one here. Healers don't seem impactful because basically in the later waves you get one shot. I definitely think you need healers for the bosses, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But anyway, good, interesting feedback. There's no point to bring debuffers like defense down or attack down. It seems like you only need CC and damage. So we're going to be looking at this specific type of bit of feedback and make sure that we've got the numbers right in terms of enemy waves. Like when you get to the very end game, there should be a decent chance that if you don't control hard-hitting enemies, that they're just going to one-shot you. But they shouldn't really be one-shotting your whole team, especially if you've got defensive people and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at this feedback and see if we can make some improvements there. And yeah, and then this is kind of like more stuff around just, I guess, game systems. Okay, so, and interestingly, some of these things already are fixed or are being fixed. So Windows version of the game only supports full screen mode. Actually, Alt and Enter is your friend here. I didn't see this feedback until today. I would have told them straight away. Alt and Return already works, so that you can take it into Windows mode and move it around in terms of size. So that is actually already in the game and fixed. I was confused why there was a lock on the passives from the start. So basically, to unlock passives for the heroes, you need to get to 3-star Ascension. And we've done that for anyone who's got a passive. So basically, the idea here is you're making choices, right? You're choosing whether to use your energy or your stamina to go and farm, more heroes, more weapons, more gear, or you could farm Ascension and unlock some pretty powerful passives for your heroes. I guess it wasn't obvious enough that they're locked behind that. So that's something that we need to have a look at. Having tooltips on what main stats you can have on different items of gear would be good. 100% that will be in for launch and for beta. Probably not going to get in for alpha. It's just a screen that we hadn't created yet. It's not hard to do, by the way, these type of things. It's not as important to us as some of the bug fixing and some of the quality of life things we have to get in. So a lot of these things, it's just like, yeah, we're going to be doing it. And we've got the screens already designed. They're just not in the game yet. It was very difficult to me to figure out how to awaken a hero that I owned with a duplicate copy of them. So we had a system where if you got a dupe, let's say you got Zeus, you get a second Zeus, you would have to go and basically go to the Anvil of Creation, which is an area of the game, convert that dupe into an imprint, and then use the imprint to awaken. So we've actually built, since some of this feedback came in, easier systems so that if you've got a duplicate hero, you can just straight use them as an awakening material. That is going to be in for Alpha 1, already built, already being tested. Great feedback. Similar feedback over here, actually. It's pretty much the same thing. So yeah, we're just trying to make sure there's less clicks to be able to do that. I'm on stage 50 and have 0 upgrades for legendary heroes. That was a similar one I've already spoken about around books. Upgrading chickens is painful. Players would enjoy a faster way to do it if possible. So there's a system in terms of upgrading multiple heroes at the same time with experience that is not going to be in for alpha. That will be in for live. So now there's a lot of clicks going from one hero to the next. We've already made a few changes to try and make this way easier. So we've changed the amount of drops that you get in terms of heroes, low-level heroes, and changed it for a spirit currency, which acts as a chicken, as a way to quick level. So that's going to be an improved experience. And then we're also allowing things like a rare would be the equivalent of a 3-star spirit. So we've made a couple of changes already to try and make this feel a lot better, but still the final version will not be in for alpha, which will make it feel even better than what you're going to get. One specific one here, level 95 is way too hard. Hercules is practically unkillable, so maybe we need to tweak him, but I actually kind of like that Hercules should be strong. Yeah, maybe we need to look at it though. And then there's a thing here for mobile specifically for the sliders we got to give people experience and to level people up. Basically, it's hard and actually also to level gear and stuff. The slider's a bit too thin and it's easy to overshoot. So it's just some better control, some better user experience on mobile for that type of thing. So overall, I'd say from the friends and family wave, a lot of people have come back and said, did we find the fun? It's a tick, and they found the gameplay engaging. There's definitely some work to do on cameras and gameplay feel. So hopefully some of the changes we've already made for alpha will start to improve that. But again, that's the sort of feedback we're going to want. Feels like a lot of the systems in their base form were good. I mean, the improvements we've already made for alpha should make that better. But again, we're going to want to test that. The power curve actually felt pretty good after we did the reset for friends and family. So again, we'll make tweaks to that from alpha 1 to alpha 2. We're already making tweaks right now, but not massive jumps. And in terms of bug squashing, we've got well over 100 bugs that will not be squashed in time for alpha, which is a real shame certainly in time for alpha 1. And they're in the sort of low and medium category for us. Anything high and above, we wouldn't release the alpha 1 unless they're done. But I'll give you an example. So if one hero is affected by a bug, let's say someone's meant to have, I don't know, a 75% chance of placing a freeze on someone when they're hit. If that doesn't work, and it's one hero that is affecting, and it's not a hero that you're going to get very easily, so for example, it's not a starter hero, then it has to go into that kind of like lower bucket of priorities versus things which are going to affect a lot of players all the time. So these are just the decisions we have to make. But yeah, we'd love to come out with the bug-free alpha. But again, it's an alpha. It's for us to try and test a bunch of these core systems rather than we're trying to release the perfect product for you guys. So hopefully you can understand that. Hopefully you come in, enjoy the alpha experience, and yeah, we can't wait for your feedback. Thanks, massive thanks to everyone who participated in the friends and family. It's been really, really helpful to get your kind of like live experience, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And yeah, can't wait for the rest of you guys to get involved. I've been Simon from Fateless, and I'll see you soon.